North Korea is a mystery nation, a point brought home by this iconic picture. North Korea shrouded in darkness, their neighbors to the south ablaze in lights. Like Christiane, ABC's Bob Woodruff is one of the few Western reporters to report from North Korea 3 times in the last 5 years. Here's his reporter's notebook on life inside the Hermit Kingdom.
We were invited to witness the first public appearance of the man who today is the leader of the world's most reclusive nation.
We are told that 10 to 15,000 have actually come here for this massive event.
Kim Jong-un is the third son. His older brothers passed over. Until then, he had been seen only in a couple of photos.
Do you know his age? No, doesn't know the age.
In North Korean style, before revealing the new heir, they wanted to impress the world with a celebration. Children trained for up to 3 years for an event like this. And then suddenly, the people next to us turned and applauded. 40 yards above us was their leader and his son. North Korea is one of the strangest places I have ever visited. 6 years ago, I saw traffic lights for show only, electricity too expensive, cars directed instead by women in militaristic choreography. In all 3 of my trips to North Korea, the government's purpose was always to make a point. The first in 2005.
Do you have a nuclear bomb?
우리 핵무기 만들었습니다.
We do have.
Then in 2008, we were the first journalists ever allowed into their nuclear facility. The images are highly orchestrated. When we saw them together, a senior general made clear the line of succession by first saluting the father, then his son. But as the dear leader moved off the stage, we saw something they probably didn't want to reveal.
I don't know if you can see this or not, but Kim Jong-il is really limping.
Perhaps he chose this moment to introduce his son, knowing his time was coming to a close. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, New York.
Thanks to Bob Woodruff. And now let's go to ABC's David Wright in South Korea, where they are on high alert tonight. Good evening, David.
Good evening, George. This is a moment of huge uncertainty in the decades-old standoff between these two countries. One of the most heavily fortified borders in the world is just 20 miles away from here. And where I'm standing is easily within artillery range of North Korean guns. Remember, the Korean War never officially ended, and there have been flare-ups. Just this morning, news of another missile test, and that's potentially the most alarming of all. What people here in South Korea fear most is instability, the possibility of a power struggle with nuclear weapons in the mix. George?
Thanks, David. And from the White House now, ABC's Jake Tapper. And Jake, I know they spent some time in the White House wargaming this transition, looking at all the dangerous scenarios. How do they think this transition is unfolding so far, and what more do they know about Kim Jong-un?
They don't know much about Kim Jong-un. Of all the countries the U.S. government wants to know about, North Korea is the most closed, the most opaque. We know he is inexperienced. He is thought to be brash, but we don't know much more about him than that. In terms of the wargaming that's been going on, the possible scenarios run the gamut from the most optimistic, the idea that this could usher in a new era of relationships with North Korea, to the most pessimistic, and that is that Kim Jong-un comes with something to prove. He has only had 3 years to prepare for this, as opposed to his father, who had 14 years, and he might start off by being bellicose, belligerent with South Korea. Some think he was behind those attacks against South Korea in 2010. So President Obama has been laying low, reaching out behind the scenes to South Korea, members of his administration, reaching out to other countries in the region, Japan, China, and trying to keep temperatures very, very low, keep things calm, George.
Thanks, Jake.